Peace, y'all. This is Sasha Alexander. I am the founder and co-director of Black.Trans Media. I use the pronouns she and he and they, and insist you mix it up or use my name. And I'm coming to you live from Brooklyn, otherwise known as Lenapehoking land. And I'm excited to bring you this incredible panel of folks to talk about Black, queer, and trans land and stewards of Black futures. Just a quick note, if you have any access needs, let us know. There is ASL support and captions are available. And just want to thank MJ and Derek for their support. So for folks who are tuning in, part of why we called this space together, well, there were many intentions. One is as more and more of our people get onto the land, how are we nourishing the connections and the issues that face our communities? This is a panel co-envisioned between Movement for Black Lives and Black.Trans Media, and I am your moderator, Sasha Alexander. And I'm excited to be here with our panelists to draw connections between Black liberation, climate justice, Indigenous sovereignty, queer and trans liberation, and to get into this juicy and very deep question that a lot is at stake with of what does the ecology of Black liberation feel, taste, and look like? And so we are honored to have Cole, the founder of Brioxy here, Brayland Brown, the co-founder and co-director and co-founder of the Smile Trust, and Chino Hardin, the co-executive director of the Center of NuLeadership project. And so we're going to get into this. And before we start our panel, I just want to take a moment to add some context. Tomorrow is the Trans Day of Remembrance, the International Trans Day of Remembrance, in which we are remembering close to 50 trans and gender nonconforming and non-binary people who were the victims of transphobic violence across the US, Turtle Island. And those are just the names that we know of. And there are several hundred people globally. And so just want to take a moment to both acknowledge our specifically Black trans folks who we've lost, which of that number of 50, almost 40 of those people are Black TGNCI people. And also want to take a moment to also acknowledge Indigenous people and Indigenous people's heritage this month and the genocide that has occurred on this land. And so just take a moment to both honor those queer and trans people and our people and the land. Shay, okay. So tonight we're going to get into what this ecosystem, and when I think about an ecosystem, we think about networks and interconnected systems, and the people on this call, there's such an ecosystem with these incredible humans doing amazing work that spans many, many years. And so I'm going to just very briefly introduce our panelists tonight, tell you a little bit more about them, and then get into their work. So our first panelist, Cole, holds an MSc from the London School of Economics and has worked as a community facilitator and strategist for more than 15, 20, many, many years. Drawing on her experience as a consultant, Cole launched the Brown Boy Project in 2010. And among many things, as an activist, Cole introduced the term masculine of center, which has been used to forward the understanding and the incredible breadth of masculinity within the queer community. So thank you, Cole, for joining us, and shout out to you. Next, I want to introduce Brayland M. Brown, who is the co-director of the Smile Trust. Brayland is an unapologetically Black trans man a Black man of trans experience, a South Florida native. Brayland is the co-founder and co-director of the Smile Trust, formerly known as Make the Homeless Smile, which is an international nonprofit organization that fights against housing injustice and works towards fixing food insecurities. Brayland also serves as the board president of the South Florida group Trans Inclusive, TIG, which is the first Black trans-led organization in South Florida that focuses on providing resources and a safe space for trans and gender nonconforming individuals. So we want to welcome and thank Brayland for being with us. And last but certainly not least, our comrade here, Chino Hardin, who is the co-executive director of the Center for NuLeadership, who is a proud father of 3 sons and a 20-year veteran organizer, continuing his unyielding journey to dismantling oppression through the creation of an ecosystem of liberation and healing accessible to all, especially youth of color who suffer from the debilitating legacy of criminalization, brutality, and phobia. He also serves as the senior collective member of Brooklyn Boyhood, whose mission it is to create spaces where Black, brown, queer, and trans boys and community can cultivate their stories, dreams, and creative work. And shout out to you, Chino, and that work. And so we're gonna get into our first question. And so Cole, we will pitch this to you. And we'll get a chance to ask each of our panelists this question. If you can just take some time to tell us more about you and what your work on the land looks like.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me here. It's really amazing to be part of this panel and this conversation. So I was born in DC. I grew up in the town, which is what we call Oakland. And I used to joke that I was from one chocolate city to another, both just incredibly rich in history and the significance, the cultural significance nationally in terms of what they have each contributed to Black culture, Black identity, and as a result, national culture and American identity. And it, over the last kind of 10 to 15 years, I watched both of those cities, in a sense, lose their spirit and their soul as Black folks were displaced out of community. And I've always been obsessed with the land, and I'll also attribute that to being able to spend pretty significant time in relationship to Indigenous communities and understanding that our connections and relationships to the land are much deeper and more profound than we are given room and space to understand in this country and in this culture. But I think it, for me, really crystallized just this idea that losing place was a way of losing oneself, losing one's community, losing one's identity. And that really pushed a much larger conversation. So my wife and I, Aisha, who's originally, she's from Brooklyn. And so between the 3 places, Brooklyn, DC, and Oakland, we watched so much culture be washed away. And quite frankly, global culture is driven by American culture is driven by Black culture, and Black culture is driven by young Black people. And so when we lose our sense of place, we lose so much. And we really just kept asking the question of, could we think about community building and intentional community differently than has ever been done before? And so about 6 years ago, we looked at 7 Black cities around the country, and from Mobile, Alabama, to Vallejo, Compton, Detroit. And we ultimately decided to move our work to Baltimore. And it really wasn't a conversation around what does it look like to be in a Black city in this moment when there are so few Black cities and so many Black folks are moving to the South on the Eastern Seaboard. Baltimore, 60% Black and one of the last majority Black cities in the country. And from that space, we began organizing. And in the last 6 years, we have helped over 100 Black families to buy in the same neighborhood and community as us. We've opened a cafe called Dovecote Cafe. We opened an artist residency called the House of Sedulo. We bought one of the 2 liquor stores in our neighborhood and took the liquor license out of it. And we're getting ready to open in the summer, or late spring, early summer, a burger joint, a juice bar, and a fresh produce grocery store. We have a local neighborhood farm that we've supported a group of really incredible leaders to step into leadership and really reflect the neighborhood and the community. And now we're just at this point where we're starting to ask a much larger question of, how do we support Black folks really across the country and across the diaspora? I'm joining you all live from South Africa. I'm in Johannesburg. but really, what does it mean for us to be part of a reclamation, really, of not just the land, but the recognition that we are purely stewards of this land, that it is our responsibility to caretake it and to safeguard it for the generations that come after us. And how do we do that in a way that maximizes as much Black joy as possible? And so we spend half our year in Johannesburg and we spend half our year in the States. And no matter where we are, we're organizing and supporting other Black folks to buy up their communities so that we can take the land permanently off the market and essentially create as many collectively held land spaces as possible so that Black people can create things that have a permanence that will last across generations.
Ashe, ashe to all of that. Love that. Thank you so much, Cole, for that work. And that is such incredible work. We're here to talk about being stewards of Black futures. And you just named so many critical ways that work is happening. So thank you so much. Gonna toss this question next to Brayland. Same question, Brayland. Can you just tell us more about you and what your work on the land looks like?
Sure. It's a pleasure to be here amongst such a great company. And while I'm just listening to Cole, I love it. I love the work that you're doing. But I'm Brayland Brown, and I'm a South Florida native, Fort Lauderdale to be exact. And listen, I've been with a comrade of Valencia Gunder, and many of you probably know her, but our relationship with the land really started with just like really dreaming in some lunch bags, and we want to feed unsheltered folks and seeing how we can impact them. So, and that was probably about 7 years ago, and it's grown into what was first called Make the Homeless Smile, and it's now the Smile Trust. And at the Smile Trust, we basically occupy land to grow food and create safe housing, right? So most of the communities that we serve are considered food deserts. So there's a lack of access to, healthy food. Instead of there being, a farmer's market, there's a fast food joint, or there's a corner store where they're picking up snacks, just the things that aren't healthy for us, right? So, and our programming is based around food insecurity. So we have Smile Days. We're talking about building our first agri-hood. We have a collaboration with a group down here, and it's now called Smile Haven, where we're actually going to be farming the land. Like, we've acquired the land ourselves, and we're actually going to be, farming. And that's really amazing. And it's really fun to know, just to see it all happening, you know what I mean? Because it's been such a long process, and it was our dream. Right. And right now, the dream is actually manifesting through the relationships that we built with the people who are actually living on the land. Right. And it's, we can't just walk into a neighborhood without introducing ourselves, because you have to be able to build trust, and that's all part of the movement as well. We also do disaster relief. We've basically, we've shipped, I want to say it was 18 containers to Haiti after the earthquake. We helped 15,000 families in the wake of the hurricanes in the Bahamas. We've sent water to Flint. We're doing things across the globe. We're doing things across the global South as well. And I think our work is important, especially down here where we are, where, the climate change and climate gentrification is really real. So, and it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to continue talking with you guys.
Thank you so much, Brayland. That work you're doing is so critical and so beautiful, and really excited to talk more about, like you said, how you made that dream a reality and what's on the horizon. But before we get into our questions, want to toss the same question to Chino over here. And Chino, can you tell us more about you and what your work on the land looks like? Oh, unmute first.
I was muted. Okay, here we go. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here and listening to all of this phenomenal, dope work that's happening. I'm Chino Hardin. I am a Brooklyn native, born in the city, but a country boy at heart. My family's from the South, by way of the Carolinas, and also my Indigenous side by way of Montana. I am the co-executive director of the Center for NuLeadership on Human Justice and Healing. I've been with the center for 20 years. And this kind of landing point of what I'm about to get into has been a 20-year combination kind of leading to this point of doing organizing work, specifically around fighting the criminal and justice system by way of making sure jails and prisons wasn't expanded, and then progress into really doing a deep dive within the community and helping the community, our community, really develop the skill sets and tools that is needed to really self-determine their own destiny, right? That's from, you know, all the skill sets you could think about in terms of like computers and jobs and things of that nature. But I think one of the most valuable things that we do is curate a space for community to build trust and build relationship with each other, to really unpack political education and application, not just in theory and not just from a book, but with each other in a way that they have ownership to teach that forward, right? The journey of where I'm at right now, I'm in a residency on the Wild Seed Community Farm. New Legacy is a baby. So New Legacy is a long-term vision we've had, but it is just beginning to even think about taking breaths and walking. So New Legacy's vision is to create its own self-containing ecosystem by curating and owning land, so folks can grow food and learn basic human skills. I think sometimes when we think about basic human skills, the first thing we're thinking about is computer skills and interviewing skills and things like that. But knowing how to grow food, knowing how to purify water, knowing how to make a fire from scratch, know how to make your own shelter, knowing, which direction is east, north, south, west, things like that are some of the basic human skills, and also our ancestral knowledge that has been stolen from us through colonization, right? So, we're developing spaces where we could take, young people and older folks, intergenerational, queer folks, trans folks, and really give them a space where they can experience nature in a safe environment. As a person who has been to the majority of the national parks in this country, who has camped all up and through this country, walked the Appalachian Trail, I can tell you that sometimes it's not safe for our bodies to be outside in nature, and not because nature is trying to hurt us. It's because racism exists everywhere, and unfortunately, it exists in the woods as well, which is probably the last place that you think homophobia and racism would show up, but it does. And by the way of whiteness, and white ownership and white fragility. So curating spaces for us to kind of learn those skills and do a walk in the woods. We're calling it, from the hood to the woods, right? And getting our folks out there in a manner that makes them feel seen, right? And also helps them start to rebalance their inner scale system, right? Not understanding how your climate works, how the world works, because you're always in a forever lit, forever noisy, forever beating down city. It's horrible, in my opinion. And unfortunately, a lot of our people are hurt behind that and are traumatized behind that. And some of our people cannot get healthy in the environment that made them sick. So how do we curate different environments? So they can start that healing process, so they can start that reconnection process, and so they can learn the skills to push the skills forward, so we can really start rethinking about what it means to steward land and reclaiming our ancestral knowledge.
Ashe to all of that, and excited to have you all here now as we continue to move through the rest of these questions. Y'all already got into it so deep. I mean, the journey that it takes in terms of us being people of the diaspora, among all the other intersections, to be on the land is certainly very sacred and certainly very political. And you all talked about so many important journeys you all have been on for different amounts of time at different places. And so this next question that I'm going to throw out to you all is if you can share with us about your journey working on and with the land, and more about how you got to where you're at. And I'll just say before tossing this out, right, a lot of folks, as we shared in the beginning of like adding context to this panel, a lot of folks are thinking about land And there are many folks who are already on land, who might have ancestral land they're connected to, and many folks, as Chino shared, who need to be on the land and aren't sure, or so many barriers to our folks getting there. And so very excited to hear, and we'll jump to you, Cole, first, because you just shared about the incredible ecosystem infrastructure that's already been developed. And so for folks who are just either beginning that journey or trying to figure out how to build community power, how did you get to where you are at with this work? Tell us more.
You know, it's wild because I think that I have been obsessed with land since I was a kid. And a big part of that is because even though I was born in DC, my mother's family is from New Hampshire, and we were moved upstate. And I spent a lot of time as a child in the woods, just this idea of going out all day. I still remember taking crawfish out of the rivers and the lakes. There's something about being exposed to nature as a child that allows a sense of freedom that just never leaves you. And so I feel very grateful for that. And I think the work that Chino, you're doing is so necessary and so needed to give all of us that sense of freedom at whatever age we can access it. So I think that definitely really instilled a very strong connection to the land for me. And then I just became obsessed with buying land when I was young, because I also lived in a very small town where we were the only Black people in town. And it was a town that became very, very big and highly populated during the summer on a small lake in New Hampshire. And I was always obsessed that there were people who had enough money. We worked on a campsite. Well, I lived on a campsite because my dad was the chef and my mom was the nurse. But it fascinated me that there were people who had houses that they didn't use. And so during the winter, I would spend most of my time basically crawling all over this tiny little town, peering into windows. I just couldn't believe that people had such an excess of house because we lived in a small cabin and I shared a bunk bed. And so I think for me, it started an early obsession and set me on a journey really to understand credit and building credit and how the system works and how the system disenfranchises people, but especially how to game the system so I would be able to access it. And I bought my first house at 24 and lived in deep East Oakland, took my little sisters with me. And really, I think the fire around the work that we're doing now is very much around how do we support folks that are just at that early stage. So super encourage folks to follow us on Instagram, but we do sessions on collective land. We did one in collaboration with Brown Boy last year. We had about 450 folks join for the collective land session, because I think whether it's folks that are already on their land, as you said, or have some ancestral land, or people that are thinking about buying land collectively, part of our goal in the next year or so is to be able to provide folks tools like basic legal support and tools, as well as then once you decide to share land with folks, how do you do it in a way that's radically honest, that creates transparency, right? Most of our ancestors that have done this work and just want to lift up Fannie Lou Hamer as one of the trailblazers that really thought about what does it mean to build collective and intentional community for Black folks. And if folks watching this have not read Freedom Farmers, I highly encourage you to read the book. It's amazing and it details her work. That for most of the folks who've done this before, the question is not how do you get the land? The question is how do you really caretake the land, and how do you manage all of the things that come up because we're human, both in terms of interpersonal conflict and relationship building. And so that's where a lot of our work has been. We've spent the last 5 or 6 years building, like you said, an ecosystem that we're so proud of and so honored to be part of, and that really has been built with many, many other people. And the next phase is really how do we support folks? And so we just announced this week, we have a fellowship for California folks. We're taking 50 Black folks from across California that are trying to build sovereign solutions, whatever they they are, for-profit, nonprofit, collective, you and your auntie and your mama, whoever it is. We encourage you definitely go to Brioxy on Instagram, because we have the application up, and it's going to be a year worth of free capacity building training and support for folks, whether you have a project or an idea, because I think that is the question, is how do we begin to transfer all of the knowledge that exists and lives in this space to so many other Black folks that are now ready and open and hungry for it.
Oof, that work is so needed. Very excited to hear about that. Jealous of y'all Cali folks getting to take part of that, but no, I know how Co works this model. Hopefully we can replicate this. Yes, and bring this. Okay, yes, because I will say there are certainly a lot of Black trans folks stewarding land, like folks on this call, and looking to do that and looking to learn. And part of our work at Black Trans Media is trying to share those narratives of how that work has happened and what folks are doing so we can learn. And so very excited to also hear from you, Brayland, in terms of your journey. I mean, you also shared an incredible amount of work that is happening down there. Can you tell us more? You shared it was a long journey to get there, but how did you get where you're at with the land, and what was that journey like for you?
All right. So honestly, this is a question that's normally for Valencia, but, I'm going to give you through my lens, right? Through Brayland's lens. So, our work started, like I said, with, on a public street, downtown Miami, handing out bags of food, right? Lunch bags. We made the food and make sure we handed out to folks who needed it. And how we knew that we needed to secure our own land was when we started getting harassed by the police, or when they started coming up with laws that said, you can't do this, you can't do that in this space. So we knew that we needed to find a space where we can, service the people who needed to be serviced without being hassled by anyone else, right? But as an organization, we're learning to use the land to be stewards, right? Like I said, the Smile Haven is a great collaboration between us and Green Haven Project, and they have a really awesome a farm down in Miami where they actually bring kids and they have programming there and they're feeding the neighborhood. So what we're doing is we're going into smaller neighborhoods and we're saying, okay, this is what we're going to do here, and this is how we're going to build a relationship to make sure that we can start to make sure that they can have access to healthy food, right? That they can have access to secure and safe housing. And all of that also is grounded in me being trans as well, right? So as trans folks, we understand there's housing insecurity, right? There's safety issues. So if we can provide these things, always being centered with me being on the board and me being a part of our organization, I'm always going to make sure that trans folks are centered in everything that we do. So, the land, we cannot function without the land. You could put it like that. Without having our own land, we wouldn't be able to function, and being able to, build relationships with, political leaders, with community leaders, and just with folks in the neighborhoods as well. Right. We need everybody in order to create that ecosystem to make sure that, our work continues to be impactful.
Ashay, thank you so much, Brayland. That work is incredible, as we shared the ecosystem that you're building. And you made me think about this quote that whatever befalls the earth befalls the people of the earth. And certainly a very important, deep relationship as everybody has raised there. And Chino, I know you shared, even for yourself, the journey of getting yourself onto the land, always being a country boy at heart, but coming from a city and making that journey. And I know you spoke a little bit to it as well, but can you tell us more, even if it's about the fellowship specifically, or the work you're doing with NuLeadership, just how did you get to that place where you're at with this?
I think I started going camping maybe like 15 years ago. And the reason why I started going camping is because no one ever took me camping. And I always like to be outside. I spent a lot of time in Prospect Park, which is a really big park in Brooklyn. I spent some time in Central Park, but Central Park is in Manhattan. It's kind of hard to get to. And I spent a lot of time going back and forth down south as a child. And I didn't know how much I would treasure those memories. So I too, as a kid, spent a big ton of time outside having these like private child adventures. And now as a parent, you know, my boys were born in Brooklyn. They're born in the city. And the city life, it was pretty much gonna be all they knew if I didn't do something about it. And I started to take my sons camping at a very young age. So my kids have spent, 90% of their life outside, being around nature and things like that. And as I was doing my organizing work, something personal in my life happened where I was attacked by a large number of queer people. And it's not like it was like we didn't know each other. So to make a long story short, instead of retaliating with violence, this is very early in the game for me too, organizing, I decided to take them camping. I had no idea the journey I was on when I made that decision. It felt right. I didn't have the vocabulary to articulate why it felt right. It felt like I was called to do it, so to speak. And it began my journey of understanding that of all the trauma that we face, all the atrocities, all the brutality, the one place for sure that can hold that is the land. So it started this journey of me like wanting to develop and curate spaces for people to heal and using the land as a tool to do so. And it fit quite seamlessly within the work that I was doing. I mean, for me, all my political was always personal. I make, I don't make that a hidden thing, about the work I do. It's deeply personal. So the organization, as the organization grew and shifted and started to focus a lot on healing, it was a natural progression. So we started taking folks out into the land and doing healing circles and camping and things of that nature. And right now I'm at the 6-month mark on the land, and I'm learning valuable land steward skills around plant identification, how to actually curate and take care of that physical land in terms of maintenance and pruning and things of that nature, volunteering at farms that are down the road. But most importantly, I'm, helping build a bridge between the city and upstate to really have our folks come up here in a way that's not typically how they come up here. And unfortunately, that's with the Department of Corrections on their back. So, bus loads of us come up here now with, like love in our hearts and not DOC on our backs. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of the bilge building. And also, like, I think quite frankly, is how we get to a place of cooperation and application, right? We could talk about things in theory, but if we don't develop the spaces to play these things out, we will actually never really know and get to that next level. So yeah.
Right on. And you all spoke so powerfully about these different intersections. For sure, the intersection with criminalization and Brayland, as you spoke about, the importance of housing when our communities are facing both racism and anti-Blackness and transphobia, right? And Cole, you as well, in terms of the intersections that you drew between Indigenous communities, Black communities, this work on the land. And so I'm wondering, I know you all, this conversation has already drawn these connections. They're already here. They're a part of who we are and our relationships. And you all talk so powerfully about the relationships that got us here. And as you said, Chino, the bridges. And so I'm just wondering, are there any other connections that we haven't already drawn that any of you want to highlight between your work and Black liberation, climate justice, Indigenous sovereignty, and queer and trans liberation? And again, I know we are already drawing those connections, but if there's anything that comes to mind, and maybe I'll throw this to you, Cole, in case you have any thoughts for us about any other ways your work is doing that. Everyone's work is doing that now, but
Absolutely. I think it is so inherent in the nature of our energy as Black people, right? We are very intersectional beings. It is just the way we move in the world. And so it makes sense that it's just resonant in all of our work. I think we, in particular, owe a debt of gratitude to the work that has been done around Indigenous sovereignty, and really the framework around it has been always about the connection to the land and freeing the land. I think that we have thought a lot about what does it mean to be in healing and symbiotic relationship as human beings to the land, and also to really intentionally think about how we can show up in ways that allow us to be self-reliant. And so that, part of why we have businesses and farms and a social justice organization, right, is so that we can think about how do we create streams of revenue that create jobs for folks that live in our neighborhoods and communities to be able to contribute meaningfully to that work. And that sovereignty is a framework that really Black folks have not been able to delve as deeply into as I'm hopeful for. And I think from a queer and trans perspective, like ultimately the idea of chosen family and collective community has been at the very core of our fabric since the beginning of time. The idea of always making place and making home and making a way is just been a place of necessity for so many of us. And so to be able to do it with so much intention has been really beautiful. And then the connection to the climate and to the really this piece around stewardship and responsibility has been fairly newer for us. And I think Aisha has really she breathes life into our spaces. She believes very deeply that Black people deserve to have beautiful things, and she creates them. And there's also been a really fascinating thread around just what does our stewardship look like in the way that is really honoring the gifts of the earth. And so, I'm in Johannesburg, the electricity was out earlier today. We didn't have water earlier this week. And it's taught us such a mindfulness around resources, being here and living here over the last couple of years, that is something that we've come to understand ourselves as squandering in the States. And so I think that there's just so much room to think about how do we give more to the earth than we take in the ways that we are building intentional community. And I'm excited because anything that Black people do, we make amazing. And I think that this is a space that we haven't been able to fully dive into as a people. And I can't wait to see all the ways that we come to honor the earth as we begin to do that.
For sure. Thank you so much, Cole, for drawing those connections. And Brayland, I'd throw out the same question to you. Again, I know you drew so many connections already between climate justice and queer and trans liberation. But anything more you want to say about those connections between Black liberation and all of these?
I think it's important to know that, here at the Smile Trust, we're definitely focused on Black resiliency, right? With South Florida being impacted by, climate, housing, food insecurities, our org has to be grounded in that, right? And we have to make sure that we make sure that everything we do is intentional and make sure that we're inclusive of queer and trans folks, right? I'm a Black trans guy. So like I said before, you can't move forward without my input, right? And my organization has always stood there and said, well, what does Bray think? What else can we do, right? And you have we'll talk about it probably a little bit later, but we have some really exciting news, really exciting collaboration that I can't wait to share a little later. But it's just so important that trans and queer folk just have access to resources and programming. And I'll tell you a quick story. So on our Smile Days, which we do on the third Sunday of every month here in South Florida, and the fourth Sunday of every month in Atlanta, we feed folks, unsheltered folks, or folks who have food insecurities. And we also give out clothes, we give out shoes, and we have a large following. And some of our folks are trans and queer. And they always come and they say, you know what, we come here because we can get what we need without any questions. We could take whatever clothes we want. There isn't anyone saying, oh no, you need to take this, you need to take that. We feel comfortable eating from you. We feel comfortable just being around you, and we appreciate you, right? So and that's another thing that just motivates, and it kind of connects everything together. And, you know, as we keep building, you know, the relationships can only get stronger. And I just think that, you know, especially with V's climate justice work, it really provides the foundation with how we navigate and how we build within a community and beyond.
Right on. Those are such important connections to draw that I think for a lot of us in our communities, one or more of the areas that y'all have already drawn a connection on, like it takes time sometimes to understand how these systems have so deeply buried us from each other and our lines and our past and our rightful futures. And so, yeah, thank you so much for drawing those connections. Chino, same question to you. And again, you also have already, you know, drawn so many connections like criminalization and Black liberation and queer and trans liberation, Indigenous sovereignty. Can you say more, if there's anything more that's just on your mind about these connections? Unmute for us. It's okay.
My bad, guys. I think, you know, when we evoke climate, you know, we're definitely talking about the environment and the effects thereof and what's happening through the continuous atrocities that, you know, big corporations and governments put in play. I think the climate of how we treat each other is equally important. How we love each other, how we respect each other, and also how we see each other. And I think, you know, we have been so deeply institutionalized and oppressed that even our resiliency doesn't allow us to really, even though we have all the resilience as Black people, right, as Indigenous folks, as queer people, survived all the things. But even with that, you know, if we're not engaging in the healing, we won't be able to really reach our fullest potential and our truest connection. So I think curating the spaces that allow that to happen is not just important to the political work that we're doing, but to the personal work. And if we are able to really build with each other in such a way, a lot of our, you know, the things that we're doing that gets considered like political work starts to really, I don't know, it starts to really land and be, I think it clears a space for us to start to love each other. I know that sounds kind of corny. I know that sounds like maybe not necessarily something that a lot of folks to think about it in programming, but I think we're able to center our programs and our works that allows that space to happen, you know, through our guaranteed income programs, through our village apprenticeship programs, what allows different community-based organizations to get paired up with folks within the organization and do this kind of work. I think it really is about love. And I kind of focus there a lot, because without the love for self in our community, anything that we kind of engage with, the trauma and the oppression be so real, it beats us back down.
No, you're right on. And I mean, it's like Cole was talking about earlier too. It's so important how we do what we're doing, because it's very easy for us to replicate, you know, and do this work in a way that could actually be harmful and isn't honoring, you know, addressing white supremacy, or isn't creating a safe space for trans folks, or drawing the intersections that you all are. And I love that you brought up love, because I know for us, you know, at Black Trans Media, love has been like a really central practice for us that, yes, can sometimes feel corny in a world where there cannot be a lot of love. But I think it is something really important to ground in. And when you all talk about building relationships and the work that looks like, love is an important practice to have. And you know, this next question I was going to ask was about, you know, what does the ecology of Black liberation, you know, feel and taste and look like, and how your work is part of our liberation. And in many ways, you all have like named this, like love is a really important feeling that is important to have in this ecology that is important and is complex and connects us. And I know, and I think about, you know, for you, Brayland, just even thinking about the Smile Trust work and the idea of people smiling and what that looks like to go out there and do that work directly on the land, how healing that is, and what that must feel like for you and for the people that are receiving it. And Cole, for people to like literally see their community transformed to be part of that like long, both immediate and long change. Like I can't imagine what, I know there's some things that taste good. I know we got cafes, we've got all sorts of things that happen. So I'm wondering, like, for all of you, like, what does this Black liberation feel and taste and look like? And all of your work is part of this, but is there anything that stands out, Cole, that you would add?
I also love that you brought up love, Chino. I think that it is such a profoundly simple answer. And we've been thinking about just this idea of framing our work around what is healthy, sustainable, and sovereign, right? And that those things are essential for us to be able to know that we've arrived. And we've also been talking about land is power and creation is freedom, and that we live in a culture in which critical theory, even the social justice movement, which I feel like I grew up in and was steeped in, is very much about like, how do we tear this apart? How do we debunk this? How do we pull this down? I think it's what has given rise to such an intense cancel culture in our communities. And really that the way forward is one that is very, very embodying of the divine feminine, which is how do we create and put things into the world as opposed to destroy them and take them apart in ways that inspire others to step into that very brave space, especially in a world that is super, super patriarchal, no matter what community you're coming from, no matter what space you're coming from. And so that has been very much, but I think the greatest and most powerful embodiment being in our shop is beautiful. And it's just such an incredible space. But we throw a Juneteenth festival because I grew up in Oakland, and we have, you know, West Coast and I think Texas, we've been celebrating Juneteenth since we was like yay high, like cowboys, Black cowboys, people in the streets, like it's a beautiful thing. And so it's really nice to be able to bring the level of celebration that I was familiar with and that I grew up with. And we had a celebration just this summer for Juneteenth, and it was after the pandemic, and we had to close our shop because of the pandemic. And it was like over 500 people on the block, and there were horses and people and babies and elders and dancing and live music. And I think that it felt like at one point, well, Aisha and I were in the shop most of the day. And at one point I stepped outside and there was like a cipher and a dancing circle and like a whole bunch of people that I had literally never seen before just on the block. And you could feel the joy in the air. And I think of that as just like the physical manifestation of what happens every day in our shop and in the spaces that we build and create, and just how much it gives other Black people permission to build and create things in such an unapologetically beautiful way. And I think that that is where we're at, that still so many of us believe that we have to create something for others as opposed to really truly being able to create what comes from our hearts and offer it to our people. And so inspired by the work that y'all are doing on and in the world and in this conversation, because I think it very much embodies what we think of as a possibility model, that you just need to be able to see that something is possible to allow your own imagination to run free with what you would do next.
Ashe. So many good things in there. You just described like a picture that I wish we could all like be taken there right now. I hope everyone gets to have like such a joyous moment as you described. And Brayland, I'm wondering for you if there's anything that you think of in terms of what the ecology of Black liberation feels or tastes or looks like to you.
Well, for me, you know, at the core, you know, Chino mentioned love, and I was just jotting down some notes, and I was like, you know, what does liberation mean to me? Liberation is a practice, it's love, it's an action, right? And personally, liberation cannot happen without being inclusive of Black, queer, trans folks, right? They have to be centered. They have to be a part of the movement. We can't be separate, right? You need the community in order to move forward, right? And it's just like it says, it takes a village, right? That village includes us. You can't exclude us. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm intentional and I show up for myself so others know that they can show up for themselves as well. And I show up for others when they can't show up for themselves. So I have to make space for my trans community. And that's, obvious through our programming, obvious with the relationships that we're building within our community and outside of our community. So like I said, liberation is an action. It's not abstract. It's not as, out there as people try to make it seem. You can break it down into something that's small, that's more digestible. So, yeah.
Right on. Yes, it is an action. Appreciate you so much, Brayland, for that really beautiful answer. And Chino, we'll toss this to you as well. When you think about this ecology of Black liberation, what does it feel and taste and look like for you?
I mean, it looks like open skies and sunsets and full moons. It looks like food grown by our own hands. And I think it looks like, the world is a very big place. And our people have been purposely boxed in on so many levels, right? From the physical to the mental and even the spiritual on some cases. And I think it looks like wide open spaces. I think it looks like the ability for people to explore the world and find their tribe, for people to find the ones that they want to be with. I think it looks like no barriers because of capitalism or some crazy few white men decided to draw a line somewhere on some ground and tell folks who've been migrating back and forth since the beginning of time they can no longer come across here without a piece of paper, right? I think it looks like village and in tribal settings. I really do. I think the way that we're forced to live and govern ourselves is out of set and out of organic with our nature. I think we know the way without really having the words to articulate that. It would look like a safe space to explore that and figure those things out. So I think, it looks bright and beautiful if, the folks who are on the planet are allowed to govern themselves as opposed to be governed and oppressed and ruled over. Especially if it's Black and trans folks there, because, we make everything happen, if I'm honest about it.
Ashay. And speaking of making things happen, I was thinking about what it feel and taste and looks like, and you held an event over there at Wild Seed Community Farm and Healer Village. New Legacy did, and it was feeling and looking like kind of how Cole was describing. The people were out and eating and dancing and just so much joy and it's an action. Like it takes time. And as all of you shared, even in our ecologies, in our worlds, the things that have been built, the ecosystems that exist, those took time to be developed, right? And so just a lot of gratitude for all the work you all are doing. We're gonna move to our last question. I know we don't have that much time left, and I know Brayland, you shared there's some exciting things. I know everybody's probably got some exciting things going on, so I'm wondering, what's on the horizon, what's in store for our futures that y'all are excited about to share with us. Cole, why don't you take us through it first?
Absolutely. So yes, please spread the word to folks that are in Cali. We're really excited about the fellowship. What is also on the horizon for us is actually being able to move money to folks to buy land around the country, and really thinking about how do we do that intentionally with all of the support needed. And then the other thing is that we are really excited to be bringing folks back to the continent. We have a trip planned to South Africa in 2023. We're going to bring about 40 folks with us, which we haven't been able to do for the last 2 years because of the pandemic. And so just this opportunity to be part of a diasporic community that is leaning, our big focus is around collectively holding community and land. And so if you are doing that work, we really encourage you. Our training work is for all folks of color. Our deep work is for Black folks, and really thinking about how do we learn, build, and grow together as we try to figure this out, because I think what's really beautiful about all of our work is that it's laying a roadmap, and it really is putting down a cornerstone that doesn't exist. So really grateful.
Shay, grateful for you, Cole, for how your work has continued to do that. Thank you. And Brayland, super excited to hear about what's going on for y'all right now and in store.
So we have our first, we are going to be opening up our first safe house for trans and gender nonconforming folks down in Miami. It's in collaboration with Trans Inclusive Group, affectionately known as TIG, to those folks who know them. And that collaboration, it really hits home, and it centers a community that is often neglected, right? Often thought about last, or that we already know is marginalized. So being able to provide safe housing along with the programming that's going into that is really awesome. So you can check out for some links later on this year dealing with that. On the Smile Trust from all of our social media and our website, and on Trans Inclusive Group's website as well. Next month, we're having our very first fundraiser. It's called Smile for Me. And basically it's a look at Miami through the lens of the unsheltered. It's a free event happening during Art Basel weekend. I can drop the link in the chat, please share it. And I think that's gonna be really, really dope. And also just look for us always to be centering abundance. That's what it is.
That is super exciting news, and definitely excited to follow up with you and hopefully come down there, because part of our work is telling the story and documenting the narratives of incredible work Black trans folks like you are doing, and that is so needed. As someone who's in New York City, in any city, anywhere, I know our folks need it. Like, that is huge news, and congratulations. Be excited to hear more about what that looks like, and thank you for all your work, Brayland. And to you, Chino, please want to hear what's on the horizon, what's in store. I know you've got some things percolating.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually having an event tomorrow. It's our Village Breaking Bread event. We don't really, a lot of us don't say Thanksgiving. We say thanks taken, because a lot was taken and not a lot was given. So in celebration of like understanding the atrocities and healing with each other, we're having a Breaking Bread event tomorrow. We're gonna do some kind of cute stuff, a little scavenger hunt. We're gonna do some planting, get folks out there, get their hands in the dirt with some tulips and some daffodils, onion and garlic. We're gonna have all of these like dope foods, like the hams and the chickens and the ribs. So all the good food, all the good vibes. But most importantly, these are the folks who are going to be a part of the first cohort with NuLeadership of like skill build land engagement. So folks camping, leading up to what we're calling a walk in the woods, where I'm going to take folks on a sectional hike of the Appalachian Trail and really get people outside and doing this stuff. And then we've just managed to get a contract with the city to do NuLeadership healing-based work with folks out of the Nitrogen housing projects developments and folks who are working with the crisis management systems. So these are the folks who are like on the front lines and engaging in like the gun violence in New York City, and really get them up here to like unpack and heal and just explore and learn some skill sets and be in an environment that they can hear their inner thoughts without other noise bombarded in. So it's super exciting. And I'm totally beat because I've been working all week for this event tomorrow, but I really appreciate building and hearing about this amazing work that you guys are doing. That is, I mean, I can't wait. So to hear more and engage with folks offline too.
Thank you so much, Chino and Cole and Brayland. We're just at time, and just want to thank everybody who's tuning in. Again, this is Sasha Alexander. I'm the founder and co-director of Black Trans Media, and I will just say something exciting is we have one of the only physical spaces dedicated to Black trans people in the world. It's weird to say that, but it's true. In Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. And always excited to connect with folks around that space. And we're excited to work towards trying to get long-term space in New York City and on the land for Black trans folks. So if you are interested in supporting us in doing that and supporting our other comrades here on the line doing this work, please follow up with them about all their incredible work they're doing. Again, want to thank Chino, Brayland, Cole for all your incredible work. From everyone at Black Trans Media, stay tuned for more of our work supporting this narrative shift and the incredible work people are doing on the land. And for Movement for Black Lives, join us in creating the Black, Queer, and TGNCI future we all deserve. You can text PROTECT, PROTECT, to 90975 to stay plugged into Movement for Black Lives plan for Black, Queer, and TGNCI liberation. And you can also stay connected to Movement for Black Lives climate work by checking out the Red, Black, and Green New Deal, which is their environmental initiative that puts Black liberation at the center of the global climate struggle and addresses the impact of climate change and environmental racism on Black communities. You can visit rbgnd.org for more information. And as we all believe, there is no movement for Black lives without Black, queer, and trans power. I'm Sasha Alexander from Black Trans Media, again, signing out and thanking everyone for coming to our Black, Queer, and Trans Land Stewards of Black Futures event. Y'all have a good night.